In chapter 1, we saw how Dhritarashtra made inquiry and Sanjay answered in terms of what did Duryodhana do, what did Arjuna do. And we ended with 4 reasons given by Arjuna why he should not fight the battle. And in the first 10 verses of second chapter, Arjuna's confusion will continue. He'll give 5th reason, and then he'll surrender unto Krishna. He'll accept Krishna as his spiritual master, Guru. He'll become student. Currently, he is a friend of Krishna. He'll take a lower position. If you want to gain knowledge, you have to always remain in lower position. You have to learn from Arjuna. You can't sit on somebody's head and acquire knowledge. You have to be always at the lotus feet of Guru to acquire knowledge. And second chapter is basically summary of entire Bhagavad Gita. That is the name also. Contents of Gita summarized. You can repeat after me. Contents of Gita summarized. You know, in my morning batch, once I called some external speaker for a lecture. And then in the beginning, he asked which chapter you're doing, and nobody remembered the name of the chapter. Which chapter they are doing. We should know which chapter we are doing. So it is contents of Gita summarized. Summary of entire book. Which means what? Which means we should be very, very attentive while going to this chapter. You'll get essence of entire book. After chapter 2, if one has been attentive, his level of surrender to Krishna will go up exponentially. 70 odd verses in this chapter. So my request is that be consistent, be regular. So dialogue so that we don't miss the plot. So we'll read verse number 1. So spoken by Sanjay. And maybe one of you can recite after me. Shweta Mataji, aap recite kare? Must be wondering which Shweta. Ahmedabad Shweta or Udaipur Shweta? Okay, let's go to Ahmedabad. Sanjay Uvacha.
Sanjaya Uvacha
Tam Tatha Kripayavishtam.
Tam Tatha Kripya Vishtam.
Everybody should recite. Only I have unmuted Shweta Mataji. Everybody should recite after. Sanjay Uvacha.
Sanjaya Uvacha
Tam Tatha Kripayavishtam.
Tam Tatha Kripya Vishtam.
Ashru Purna Kulekshanam.
Ashru Purna Kulekshanam.
Vishidantam Idam Vakyam.
Vishidantam Idam Vakyam.
Uvacha Madhusudana.
Uvacha Madhusudana.
Tam Tatha Kripayavishtam.
Tam Tatha Kripya Vishtam.
Ashru Purna Kulekshanam.
Asru Purna Kulekshanam.
Vishidantam Idam Vakyam.
Vishidantam Idam Vakyam.
Uvacha Madhusudana.
Uvacha Madhusudana.
Once more. Sanjay Uvacha.
Sanjay Uvacha
Tam Tatha Kripayavishtam.
Tam Tatha Kripya Vishtam.
Ashru Purna Kulekshanam.
Ashru Purna Kulekshanam.
Vishidantam Idam Vakyam.
Vishidantam Idam Vakyam.
Uvacha Madhusudana.
Uvacha Madhusudana.
Thank you, Mantha. Very nice. Word by word meaning. Sanjaya Uvacha. Sanjaya said, Tam unto Arjuna, Tatha thus, Kripaya by compassion, Avishtam overwhelmed, Ashru Purna or full of tears, Ikshanam eyes, Vishidantam lamenting, Idam these, Vakyam words, Uvacha said, Madhu Sudana, the killer of Madhu. Translation purport by Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Sanjay said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna spoke the following words. Please repeat after me. Sanjay said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna spoke the following words. Please hear the purport very carefully. Meena Mataji, you have your book with you today?
Anji Prabhuji.
Will you read the purport?
Sure. Material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of the real self. Compassion for the eternal soul is self-realization. The word Madhusudana is significant in this verse. Lord Krishna killed the demon Madhu, and now Arjuna wanted Krishna to kill the demon of misunderstanding that had overtaken him in the discharge of his duty. No one knows where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the breast of a drowning man is senseless. A man fallen in the ocean of nescience cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward dress, the gross material body. One who does not know this and laments for the outward dress is called a Shudra, or one who laments unnecessarily. Krishna was a Kshatriya, and this conduct was not expected from him. Lord Krishna, however, can dissipate the lamentation of the ignorant man. For this purpose, the Bhagavad Gita was sung by him. This chapter instructs us in the self-realization by an analytical study of the material body and the spirit soul, as explained by the Supreme Authority, Lord Sri Krishna. This realization is possible when one works without attachment to the fruitive results and is situated in the fixed conception of the real self.
Thank you, Mataji. Very important verse. It's a very, very important learning. Now we saw Arjuna cited first reason not to fight the battle as compassion. Correct? He felt compassionate for his kinsmen or his relatives. Kripaya avishtam. Ashru purna leaks. He started crying. His eyes are full of tears. How will I kill my elders? And Prabhupada, in the purport, trying to explain what is actually compassion. So I'd like to hear from you, some of you. How would you explain compassion in general terms? How people show compassion to others generally? You can unmute and speak.
Feeling someone's pain.
Sorry?
Feeling someone's pain.
Feeling somebody else's pain. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Helping out someone who is
Sorry?
in need. Helping out someone who is in need.
Sorry?
Helping out someone who is
Helping
in
out
need.
somebody. Somebody is hungry, you feed him. Some doesn't have clothing, you give him clothing. Somebody needs blood, you organize blood camps. These are various forms of charities we perform, correct? How we show compassion in general. Anyone else?
Somebody is suffering, we support them.
Sorry?
When somebody is suffering, so we support them.
If somebody is sick, you take.
किसी को ज्ञान देते हैं.
So, Himanshu was saying somebody is suffering. Maybe some disease, bodily disease, mental disease.
So we empathize. Showing empathy, we empathize.
Showing empathy, yes. These are different ways. If you see various social or charitable organizations, right, like Rotary Club or many other, so different charity organizations. Normally, what will they do? They'll organize blood camps, they'll open hospitals, they will open orphanage, they will feed hungry, right? और गर्मी होती है तो पानी का अरेंजमेंट करते हैं, cold water, right? Or they'll distribute clothing to poor people.
किसी को ज्ञान देना भी कंपैशन है, जैसे.
Yes, another form of compassion. Now, Prabhupada is challenging this kind of, not challenging, he's saying this is not real compassion. This is compassion, yes, but this is not real help. This is not real charity. This is not real support. Once a child got separated from his parents, and in the middle of the road he was crying. Small child, 4 or 5 year old, he was crying. People were passing by, they saw this child is crying. Somebody brought some chocolate and gave him. Better chocolate cup. Child saw chocolate, he stopped crying. He ate chocolate and he again started crying. Somebody came, oh, he must be hungry. He brought some burger from McDonald's, gave him. They better burger khalo. One Pepsi also. So child had burger, Pepsi, and then was quite some time and again started crying. The doctor was going by, he felt he must be feeling some pain. He took out his stethoscope, his eyes checking. Sans lo. Do we have any doctor here? Dr. Umar Khan. Sans lo. Very sans lo. तो बच्चा सांस लिया. Whatever. So different people tried to help this child differently. The way they thought, the way they interpreted the pain of this boy and helped this boy accordingly. Different ways. Then another gentleman came, he asked him, why are you crying? Nobody asked this question earlier. He asked me, why are you crying? And this child said, I was with my parents. I went for this fair. I got separated from them. So I don't know where are they. So this gentleman took the child to the nearest police station and reported a complaint that he has lost his parents. And incidentally, coincidentally, parents also, while searching, they had come to the police station to lodge FIR that we have lost our son. And both of them met in the police station. And when parents met this child, they're very happy. Child is very happy. And then parents got him everything. Got him clothing, got him chocolate, got him Pepsi, got him burger. Everything what this child desired, needed, was arranged by the parents. Now, different people showed compassion differently. My question is, whose compassion, whose charity was of the highest order? Chocolate, burger, doctor, clothing, or this person who took this child and helped him meet his parents?
The last one. The last one who took the child.
So why do you say last one was the highest form of charity?
Because that was the overall objective, that the child is crying to meet their parents. So that was the overall objective. We were giving others were giving the temporary relief by giving a food or chocolate or something. But real purpose was to meet the parents.
Very good. So somebody tried to give him temporary relief, and somebody tried to find out the root cause of the problem and tried solving that problem. So that is the highest level of compassion. Addressing the root cause, not symptoms. Like, who is a good doctor? Who treats symptoms or who treats root cause? Dr. Huma Khan.
Obviously root cause. Obviously root cause.
Root cause, not only the symptom.
Why? Because solving root cause means permanent solution. And other forms of charity are temporary. Will solve the problem only for short term. So all types of charities which are basically addressing bodily needs are temporary. It's like giving chocolate, giving clothing. They address bodily problem only for a short term. Prabhupada is giving analogy of a drowning person. A person is drowning and side by side his jacket is also drowning. Whom would you save? Would you save the person or would you save the jacket? Very difficult question, no? Whom do you save? You'll say jacket or the person?
The person.
Person. Why not jacket?
Because by the time you save the jacket, the person may
Person might drown.
drown.
Yeah. So it is person which is essential object to save. Jacket is also important, but not like saving a person. Similarly, all types of charities which address bodily demands, हवा, पानी, खाना वगैरह वगैरह, कपड़ा, they address bodily demands and that too for a short term. आप किसी को खाना दीजिए रोड पे. Have you solved this problem by giving a meal? Solve this problem for maybe half an hour. Evening again he'll become hungry and start crying. So I'm not discouraging this kind of help. Please try to understand. We are relatively trying to find out which is the highest form of charity. Relatively. Okay. So saving the jacket is equal to saving body, and saving the person, real person, is like saving the soul inside the body. So any support, any help which is targeting the soul, how we can help this soul who has forgotten his Father, Supreme Lord, how do we help him get back to his Father and solve all problems forever? Yeah. Gomata said Gyan, giving Gyan as charity. And Gita Krishna says, one who distributes this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is the highest form of charity. Why? It addresses the root cause. It solves the problem permanently, forever. And he says such a person who is distributing this knowledge is very dear to me. इतना dear कि उससे ज़्यादा कोई dear नहीं है. Nobody is so dear to me. Like in Krishna's eyes, person who is helping other souls solve their material problems forever is demonstrating highest form of charity. So organizations who address bodily problems are also charitable but temporary solving the problem. An organization who address the real root cause, why is soul suffering in this material world, and how do we help this soul go and meet the super soul and solve all these problems, that is the highest form of charity. So one is trying to save the jacket, another is trying to save the person in the jacket, inside. So one is trying to save the body, one is trying to save the soul within the body. Make sense? Yes? Shake your head. So this is real compassion. While Arjuna is showing compassion and Krishna is going to chastise him after some time. You think you are a very learned person? You are talking as if you're a very learned person. And the second verse will say, anyway, when we read, we'll discuss about that. The essence which Prabhupada is trying to communicate through this verse is Arjuna is crying, lamenting, how will I kill my kinsmen, my relatives? And one may feel, oh, how compassionate Arjuna is. Actually, Arjuna is not showing real compassion. You know, everybody who died in this battlefield in front of Krishna, he was delivered. Anyone who fought and died in the presence of Krishna, he was delivered. If Arjuna had not fought this battle and his battle had not happened, this superficial material compassion would have avoided all these souls going back to home, back to Godhead. समझ आ रहा है आपको? If Arjuna had stopped, not fought the battle, and battle had not happened, for example, all these souls who actually went to spiritual world after this battle would have missed this great opportunity to die in front of Krishna and get salvation. So this material compassion would have covered real compassion. So real compassion, Krishna showed, not Arjuna. समझ आ रहा है आपको कि नहीं? Little subtle. That is where Bhagavad Gita comes in. Because everything which looks to us normal, when you see through the lens of Bhagavad Gita, it looks abnormal. That's why Bhagavad Gita is very special. So what Arjuna thought was normal compassion, and Krishna, what is Krishna saying in the next verse? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishme Samupastitam Anaryajustam Asvargayam Akirti Karamarjuna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Shri Bhagavan said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? What Arjuna is thinking, I am so great, I am so compassionate, and Krishna is saying, hey, what kind of dirty heart you have? From where these impurities come to your mind? See? धो दिया अर्जुन को 1 मिनट के अंदर. They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to infamy. So you think that by showing this compassion, you will attain, salvation, you will attain higher planets. Forget about it. You lose all your glory, whatever you have earned so far. You'll become infamous. Coward boy ran away from the battlefield. Kshatriya who ran away. So this compassion will lead you to not glory, but infamy. And this kind of compassion, he's saying, what kind of impurities have come upon you, Arjuna? You're thinking like this. Do your duty. So the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to present in front of us what is more valuable, the body or that tiny spark inside this body which is called as soul. Which is more important? Who are we? Are we this body, gross body, which is visible externally, or we are which is not visible? We have discussed this in DYS course also. If somebody leaves his body, dies in our family, we no more hug that body. Body whom we hugged for 30, 40, 50 years, we don't feel like touching. Forget about hugging. Just think about it. If throughout the life we loved this body, why not now? Why can't we sleep with the body throughout the night? One mother said, who lost her husband, बेटा लेके जाओ, रात में लेके जाओ, घर पे नहीं रखनी है. I can't sleep with dead body. Body which was so lovable, we can't bear the presence after this tiny spark leaves this body. So we loved this body or this tiny spark. Yes. Whom do we love? The body or that spirit soul inside the body?
We love the body so long as soul is there.
We love the body, yes. So long soul is there.
It's body with soul. Body with soul, actually.
Hmm.
Because soul we cannot see.
Actually, whom we loved, we never saw.
You're right.
Whom we loved, we never saw. We remain unknown to each other throughout life. You're loving the unknown. It can be a nice movie title. Loving the unknown. Right? Milal Mataji smiling. We don't know whom we are loving. We're loving some gross body. Or his body looks very nice externally. If body becomes ugly, then love diminishes. No more love. So love in this material world is not love. Krishna will talk about it. It is actually lust, not love. Lust and love, two are very different things. Lust is based on body and love is based on soul. So we don't know whom we are loving from soul perspective. So we don't love anyone. We simply have lusty feelings for others. So this material world is based on lust. And Krishna will talk about it in the 3rd chapter. Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajoguna, Samudbhava. Who is the biggest enemy in this material world? Is the lust. Anyway, it's too early to talk about it. So in this verse, Krishna is saying, Arjuna, what happened to you? You're such a nice Kshatriya. You have fought so many battles. You have earned so much of glory by winning those battles. And from where this impurity has come to your mind that you're running away, you're not doing your duty, you're showing this false compassion. If Arjuna had not fought and battle had happened, somebody else would have killed Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya. Yes or no? Can he stop the death by not fighting? No, he cannot. So what is the value of this compassion if you can't save? So Krishna is going to address this right in the beginning. What is body? What is soul? Primary knowledge which should be taught to a child when he's in 5-year-old. When he goes to 1st standard, he should be taught, Beta, you are not this body, you are a soul. And if someone does not know this, please mark this statement. If someone does not know his identity as a soul, he can never find out the goal of life. Can never find out. Forget about meeting that goal. He will not even know what is the goal of life. हमें पता ही नहीं हम कौन है, तो गोल किसका है? क्या गोल है? So it is aimless living for somebody who does not know this ABCD of spiritual life, that he is not this material gross body, he is a spirit, soul inside the body. So one cannot identify what is the goal of life. And if somebody is driving a car without knowing where is he going, but he is driving a wonderful Mercedes car, he is driving very fast, accelerator पे accelerator दबाए जा रहा है, and you ask him, where are you going? And he said, I don't know. What is the use of the car? What is the use of Hari driving that car? No use, na. आप ट्रेन टिकट लेने जाइए, पैसा दीजिए, बोलो टिकट दे दीजिए, तो पूछे कहाँ का, ये तो पता नहीं, कहीं का भी दे दीजिए. This is the situation we are in currently. कहीं का भी दे दीजिए. Just imagine, कहीं का भी. कहाँ जा रहे हैं पता नहीं, गाड़ी तो बहुत अच्छी है आपकी, पता नहीं कहाँ जाना है. गाड़ी में एसी भी लगा है, एलसीडी टेलीविजन भी लगा है, अच्छा साउंड सिस्टम भी है, टंकी फुल है, पिल्लो भी रखे हैं. कहाँ जाना है पता नहीं. this is situation, be it a poorest person or the most wealthiest person. Both of them don't know where are they going. Are you able to relate with what I'm saying? Or is bouncer? हो जा रहा है? समझ आ रहा है कि नहीं? Aishwarya Mataji, you able to follow? Can you please briefly summarize what I said?
If we are mostly into the if we don't identify ourselves as soul, then in that case we'll be lost and we'll not be able to find out the purpose of the life. So we do not know the goal. Forget about reaching the goal. We do not know what exactly the goal is. It's similar to a person having a luxurious car and driving on the road without knowing what the destination is. So be it rich or poor, if everyone is on the same path, if we identify ourselves as souls, then only we'll be able to know the purpose of life and follow the path to that goal.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So, second chapter will provide us purpose of life. That life in which we already have spent last part of the life. 30 years, somebody has spent 30 years, somebody has spent 40 years, somebody has spent 50 years, already gone. Now we will know, hopefully, what is the purpose of life. But still it's not late. That is the beauty. Still it is not late. We can still identify.
Better late than never.
Huh?
I told better late than never.
Better late. That is good. But for children, be careful.
Yeah, at the early age they should know.
Yes, early age we should start. So I'll read the purport and then discuss. Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. So in this verse, the starting word is Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. यहाँ ये नहीं लिखा है Krishna Uvacha. What is written? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. भगवान स्वयं बोल रहे हैं. Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. Therefore, Lord Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan throughout the Gita. Bhagavan is ultimate in absolute truth. What is absolute truth, anyone? You will hear this term again and again. But Krishna is absolute truth. Anyone? What is absolute truth? What is absolute?
The one and only.
Sorry?
The one and only truth.
Okay, one and only one truth. Okay, thank you, Mataji. Anybody else? What is absolute?
Infinite truth.
Sorry?
Infinite truth.
Infinite. Okay. Anyone else?
Who's not comparable.
Not comparable.
Not comparable.
जो कभी चेंज नहीं हो समय के साथ और परिस्थितियों के साथ.
Unchanged.
The one who can never be changed.
Okay. Anybody else? In this material world, everything is relative. The opposite of absolute is relative. So in this material world, everything is relative. Correct? For example, you see a nice flower in the garden. Is it absolute or relative? This nice flower is dependent on so many things. Quality of gardener, quality of earth, quality of pesticide or whatever, water, so many things. So in its own, flower has no value. So flower's existence is dependent on many things. Yes or no? So like you see anything in the material world, it is relative.
Yes.
Anything and everything is relative. Krishna is absolute, independent. Only entity which is independent is Krishna. Fully independent. Swarat. Bhagavatam says Swarat. Another aspect of absolute is Krishna, his name, Krishna, his form, what we see, his pastimes, what we hear, his qualities, what we hear, they're all non-different from each other. They're all absolute. So Krishna's name has the same potency which Krishna has. Hearing about Krishna has the same potency what Krishna has. Glorifying Krishna is equally potent, like meeting Krishna. Absolute. So when Krishna met Dhruv Maharaj did austerity for 6 months, and then Vishnu came in front of him. He was a 5-year-old boy and he wanted to utter some prayers. Supreme Lord has come in front of him. You want to utter some prayers. कुछ बोलूं मैं, लोगों को समझ नहीं आ रहा 5 साल के बच्चों क्या बोलूं मैं? How do I glorify Lord standing in front of me? मान लो आपके सामने आ जाए भगवान. हाँ जी, धर्मेंद्र प्रभु. If Krishna appears in front of you, how will you glorify him? समझ नहीं आ रहा ना. ध्रुव महाराज को समझ नहीं आ रहा था क्या बोलूं मैं. Then Vishnu touched Dhruv Maharaj through his conch shell. Conch shell पता है ना आपको? शंख. भगवान के हाथ में शंख रहता है, गदा रहता है. शंख से केवल ध्रुव को छू दिया. And entire Vedic knowledge got transferred through this shankha, conch shell, into the heart of Dhruv Maharaj. The shankha has the same potency. And then he started uttering wonderful prayers immediately. This is absolute nature of whatever dresses Krishna wears, they are non-different from Krishna. This is absolute nature. And everything else is relative. Like for us, we have soul and we have external body. Different. But Krishna's internal, external, all are same. All spiritual, no material. This is absolute nature. The absolute truth is realized in 3 phases of understanding, namely Brahman, or the impersonal, all-pervasive spirit, Paramatma, or the localized aspect of the Supreme within the heart of all living entities, and Bhagwan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this conception of absolute truth is explained thus. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yaj jnanam advayam brahmeti pramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdate. The absolute truth is realized in 3 phases of understanding by the knower of absolute truth, and all of them are identical. Such phases of the absolute truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Now, this is a little technical, and I'll try to explain as simplistically as possible. So, somebody says Krishna or like the Supreme Lord is formless, निराकार. सुना है आपने? कुछ लोग बोलते हैं भगवान का आकार नहीं होता. ठीक है? Why आकार नहीं होता है? The Lord is all pervasive. पूरे जगत में विद्यमान, उनका आकार कैसे होगा? Is infinite. Somebody said infinite. Can you give a form to infinite? So they are convinced it is formless, nirakar. We cannot limit infinite into a finite form. And it sounds a great logic. Yes or no? And there's second type of yogis who meditate and focus on Paramatma aspect in the heart. योगी ध्यान लगाकर बैठते हैं सालों साल. कहाँ ध्यान लगाते हैं वो? They're meditating on the form inside the heart. That is four-handed Vishnu form. Paramatma is a Vishnu form, four-handed, carrying Shankar, Gada, Chakra, and lotus flower. And there are third type of people who worship two-handed form like Krishna. Correct? All three are right, but all three are spiritualist, but there's a big but. Person who says Krishna is, or the Supreme Lord is formless, that understanding is right but incomplete. Partially right. Not full understanding. And Prabhupada is giving an analogy of sun. Later we'll see. Sun also has three aspects. Sun rays which are spread all over, all prevailing. And does this ray has a form? No, it is formless. I am sitting here, I can see outside. It's all, illuminated through sun rays, but there's no form. It's formless. But where these rays are coming from? That sun disk, which I can see from here. If you look up and try to see the source, I can see one sun disk. The localized aspect, some form from where all these rays are coming. That is Paramatma feature of the Lord. But inside the sun, if you go inside the sun, you will find sun god, Surya Dev. Inside the form. Who is actually controlling everything? So one who understands and realizes sun god, he will realize sun god, he will realize sun disk, and he will also realize sun rays. Yes or no? Making sense? Similarly, one who realizes Bhagavan feature of the Lord, ultimate two-handed form of Krishna, he will naturally realize Paramatma feature also, and he will naturally realize that formless feature. What is formless feature? It is called Brahman. It is actually effulgence coming out of the body of Krishna. जैसे सूरज के शरीर से तेज निकल रहा है, वैसे ही भगवान के शरीर से तेज निकलता है, जिसको ब्रह्मन कहते हैं. All words, material or spiritual words, they are actually situated in this Brahman. समझ आ रहा है? तो जो लोग निराकार बोलते हैं, they have only realized Brahman part of Krishna, the effulgence coming out of the body of Krishna. This is correct but incomplete. They don't know the source of this effulgence. समझ आ रहा है आपको? So this is Brahman realization. Formless. Correct but incomplete. Paramatma feature also is correct but incomplete. Why? Paramatma is also a part of Krishna. Expansion of Krishna. After so many expansions, Paramatma comes. tiny part of Krishna. Paramatma is a tiny part of Krishna. But this is higher understanding than the effulgence, the Brahman. So lower is Brahman, then Paramatma, and the highest realization is Krishna himself. So if you all of you are studying about Krishna, you realize Krishna, you're the, you are actually practicing the highest form of spirituality. Why? You're talking about Krishna straight away. And because you're talking about Krishna, you will understand Paramatma also, and you'll understand Brahman also in the due course of time. But one who is stuck with Brahman, he's very difficult for him to go forward. Very difficult. क्योंकि जिसके मन में बैठ गया कि फॉर्मलेस है, उसके दिमाग में फॉर्म बिठाना about somebody who is infinite is very difficult. वो एक्सेप्ट नहीं करता है. So sun rays is like effulgence coming out of the body of Krishna. Both are formless, all pervading. Sun disk is like Paramatma, local feature, right, in the heart. And sun god is like Krishna in terms of comparison, analogy, right? Who is actual one who is controlling everything. So different spiritualists realize differently this, supreme aspect based on what process they have followed, based on what understanding they have or they have realized. Let me explain this through a small, another story. Once, village which does not have a train, none of the villagers had seen any train. Train is coming for the first time to the village, and nobody has seen. Train kaise dikhti hai. So all the villagers went to the station to see how train looks like. And it was evening time, dark time. And when train started coming closer to the village, what will you see first? You see light. दूसरा ट्रेन नजर आती कैसे? You see only first light, nothing else. Correct? आप ट्रेन से ट्रेवल किए हैं कि खाली फ्लाइट पे घूमते हैं? ट्रेन देखा है आपने कि नहीं? है जी, देखा है ना? आजकल बच्चों से पूछो दूध कहाँ से आता है, बोलते हैं पार्सल दुकान से आता है. उसको पता नहीं गाय से दूध आता है. तो हमको पता नहीं कितने लोग ट्रेवल किए हैं ट्रेन से. So first you see the light coming to the train, and few villagers saw, oh, wonderful, train is a light. So they went to the village and started telling everybody what? Train is what? Is light. Nirakar. Bhagwan kya hai? Nirakar. And some intelligent, they kept waiting. No, we'll wait and see. Let it come closer. Train pass में आया. They could see light के पीछे कोई structure भी है, कोई डिब्बे डुब्बे नजर आ रहे हैं. So they thought this is the final position of the train, and they started going to the village and started explaining. Train means what? Light, and behind light there is some structure. Correct, but incomplete. But few intelligent people waited, had patience. Let the train come. The train arrived at the station. They saw there were people inside the train. Some were coming down, some were going up. So they realized this train aspect fully. They realized train, they realized people inside the train, they realized debate, they realized light, everything. So one who realizes the two-handed form, Bhagavan, feature of the Lord, he will realize other two also naturally. But vice versa, very difficult. So anyone who is talking about Krishna is super special soul already. You're talking about Bhagwan feature, ultimate reality. Making sense? It was a little technical. समझ आया कि नहीं आप? आ गया? धर्मेंद्र प्रभु, राजेंद्र प्रभु. Okay. तो अभी 5-10 मिनट किसी का कोई प्रश्न है तो पूछ सकते हैं. If you have any question, you can ask. अभी ये it's not complete. It's a very big purport. We'll talk about it in next class. Yes, Ashwarya ma'am.
So Prabhuji, when you say Brahman, it is something which is emitting out of Paramatma. So
No, it is emitting from
Krishna.
the body of Krishna.
Okay.
And this same Brahman gets re-reflected from sun as sun ray. So sun also
Okay.
gets its rays through Brahman.
Okay.
Original source is Brahman only.
So it means that when you say Krishna and whatever Paramatma feature which is present in all the living beings, it's actually the part and parcel of Krishna. So he expands, and then
So
the Paramatma
Krishna
feature is
expands as Balaram. Balaram expands as Chaturvyu, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. And then Sankarshan expands as second Chaturvyu. Then second Sankarsana expands as Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu expands as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Garbhodakshay Vishnu expands as Kshudakshay Vishnu. And the Kshudakshay Vishnu is Paramatma.
okay.
Expansion of expansion of expansion of expansion of expansion of Krishna.
Okay.
Part of Krishna.
Prabhuji, what do we mean by expansion here?
Sorry?
What do we mean by expansion here?
Expansion means, how do they explain expansion? Basically, you know, Krishna incarnates in a different form to serve a specific purpose. May have all the potencies of Krishna, may have part of the potency of Krishna. There are two types of expansions. One is called plenary expansion, Swayamansha. Second is called part and parcel expansion. So plenary expansion are basically like Lord Ram, Vamandev, Vishnu, Narsimha Bhagavan. They're all Vishnu Tattva. They are Vishnus. Right? And second is called part and parcel, tiny expansions, like all of us. We're also expansions of Krishna. Tiny expansions. Part and parcel means eternally separated from Krishna. Eternally part, eternally separated. Like spark and fire. Spark is separated from fire. Tiny fire, you can say. Same qualities of fire in terms of heat, in terms of light, but minute quantity. Quality is same. So qualitatively same, but quantitatively very different. All of us. Because we are minute, there is a possibility of us getting conditioned. But Vishnu Tattva doesn't get conditioned. They are like Krishna only. Almost same potential. But we are छोटी-छोटी चिंगारियां. और ये चिंगारी किसके संग में रहती है उस पर डिपेंड करता है सब कुछ. यदि चिंगारी पानी के संग में आ जाए तो क्या होगा?
बुझ जाएगी.
ये चिंगारी और किसी फायर के संग में आ जाए, चिंगारी के संग में आ जाए, लकड़ी के संग में आ जाए, घास के संग में आ जाए, जल जाएगी. So all of us actually are driven by what kind of association we keep. That defines our destination.
Thank you,
प्रभु
Prabhuji.
जी, वो जो दशावतार है वो विष्णु का इनकारनेशन है या लॉर्ड कृष्ण का इनकारनेशन?
All are incarnations of Krishna.
कृष्ण. Okay.
But platform is Vishnu. We'll talk about it later. Through Vishnu, Krishna incarnates in different forms. Platform is Vishnu.
Thank you.
Very intelligent questions. Anybody else? Rajesh Sahu, Prabhu, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Guruji.
बॉम्बे या बॉम्बे के आसपास वाले कौन लोग हाथ खड़ा कीजिए?
एक तो मैं ही हूँ।
हाँ, आप हैं। प्रीति माता जी, who else? अच्छा, और कोई नहीं है। रामकृष्ण प्रभु, he is from Bombay, no? Not raising his hand. Then we have some more also. Shri Gopal Prabhu. So I was thinking we need to meet maybe once. How is the idea of planning for a spiritual retreat for 2-3 days? We meet physically at some place, nice place, like spiritual picnic.
Certainly, Guruji.
Let me see raised hands. Whoever is interested in this kind of. Very good. So we'll plan soon something. How about Vrindavan?
Vrindavan is good, but not in May and June. It will be
Not
very,
now.
very hot.
After weather is fine. Not now. अभी तो बहुत गर्मी है.